All right, so a few things that I learned along the way. A couple of things I didn't make smart that I want to make smart, and using this thing as a dashboard, not going to work out so good for me. Just too small, gets in the way of other things that we want to do with the Google thing, and I don't really want it involved in my home automation system because then crap might go out through Google. So this is going out of the way. So first things first, one of the things I didn't make smart is this. This, I figured, hey, why do I need a pantry door or pantry light to be smart? So I just put that thing on here and left the old manual switch in. What I found is that the kids tend to leave this light on, close this door, and then the light gets left on the whole day. Nobody ever knows. So what I'm doing is I'm going to replace this with that leftover smart switch I had, the 6NES Lutron Cassetta, or Kaseya, whatever you want to call it. And then for when people open the switch, there's going to be a door sensor. The door sensor is going to say, hey, when the door opens, turn the light on. When the door closes, turn the light off. Easy peasy, rice and cheesy, instant win. Another thing that I had is this kitchen light. This kitchen light, if I'm watching Netflix and I pause it so somebody can go to the kitchen and get a snack, and then I unpause it, the lights in the kitchen and everything else turn off again. So I'm adding a presence sensor. That's going to go in here somewhere. I'll plan it out. That presence sensor is going to prevent the automation for movie time from turning off these lights. If somebody's in the kitchen and I unpause the movie, the kitchen lights will stay on, although the lights in the living room will dim and the others will turn off. Beautiful. It's also going to solve another problem I have, because I'm adding another sensor, because I really do want this light to turn on and off. So I'm going to put a presence sensor at the top of the stairs pointed this way. This presence sensor is pretty cheap. We'll go over what it is later. But it has not only motion detection, but it also has the millimeter wave radar and 3 zones. So it's going to be able to tell when somebody hits the bottom of the stairs, turn the light on. After there's nobody on the stairs, they're done, it turns it back off. If somebody approaches it from upstairs, it will turn the light on, turn it off. That's going to help a lot. The other thing is, again, replacing this screen. So we're going to replace that with something that makes more sense. All right, so first things first, let's see what I've got, and we'll talk about why I got it. Here we have another open-closed door sensor. That's going to be for the pantry. Then we have 2 of these, Meross smart presence sensors. I was not too happy about these when I looked online, but I read a few reviews, I watched some videos, and for the most part, the people that have gotten these seem to be pretty happy with them. So we're going to use these, and we're going to see how they do. There's 2 of these. We'll give maybe a review afterwards. And then we have this. We'll go over that later. Let's look at this later. This is a monitor. This is a touchscreen monitor that we're going to use for this. It's 10 touch points on it. And I'm going to mount it on the wall over by my clock. The other thing that presence sensor over here is going to do is going to tell when somebody approaches this, and it's going to turn it back on. You could also wake it up with a touch, but whatever. Let's go ahead and get this bad boy open. Let's see what we got. We have power supply. Then we have the monitor itself, which is nicely sealed up. Looks pretty nicely sealed up. Alright. It's an IPS display. It's 1080p. We have multiple inputs here. Hopefully you can see these. We have an HDMI. Believe it or not, a DVI and a VGA. There's audio on here. There's a USB jack. We'll use this to connect it for touchscreen. What's going to happen is this is going to go wherever my beautiful wife selects, somewhere over here on the wall like this. And we're going to place our dashboard here. But we have a problem. This is just a monitor. What's going to power it? Well, I could have gotten a smart display. I could have gotten a huge tablet or something like that. Those things are rather expensive. I don't need anything fancy. I just need something small. So what I have here is another Raspberry Pi, 4 gig power supply for that, and aluminum case with a fan. This is kind of just thrown in. Looks like a little carrying case for this stuff. I don't need that. And of course, we have the HDMI cable for that as well. And quick books of instructions. So we're going to take this, get it assembled, put it in the case, use the power supply, and we're going to have to put a utility box in the wall so that we can mount this flush and have a space behind it where the outlet and the Raspberry Pi and of course the power supply for this will sit. That's going to be a bit of work, and we'll see what happens when we get started. That's it for today, folks. Let's track along and see what happens. All right, so I'm going to unbox the Raspberry Pi stuff, see what we got. This came from a store. I bought it on Amazon. The store's name is vilros.com, VILROS.com. So we're going to take a look and see what they got. I should have here the Raspberry Pi. Looks like I do. Go ahead and open this bad boy up. And yep, it's a Raspberry Pi. And we have the instruction books here that go with it. Great. That's just what we were expecting it to be. Got the Pi. Now we have the power supply for this. Everybody knows what these look like, but let's see what they've got, if we've got anything special here. Just the way I like it. We've got an on and off switch for it here, and the USB-C connector. So this is perfect. I always love the off and on switch for that thing. And we have a case, an aluminum case. The other case I have is plastic from Kit. This case is supposed to be a really nice aluminum thing. Let's see what we got. So we have the case. We got, as promised, the tooling. A couple of heat sinks, very important because this thing's going to run 24/7. Things to, little feet for it to stand it up, quiet. And of course it does have a fan built into it. It's this nice sturdy aluminum case. The quality of this is pretty good. None of these legs are loose or chintzy. Everything is pretty solid. Not sure if Meross makes them themselves or what, but this is pretty good. Plus, I have a few mounting holes here. I want to mount this inside the box that I'm going to put in the wall. This will work out just fine because I can mount this right on the box, on the wall in the box. And then we have the fan connection guide. This tells me, how to connect everything, what the different pins are for. That should also be in the Raspberry Pi book as well. And we have an installation manual, which is very straightforward. Beautiful. It also came with an HDMI connector for the little HDMI, mini HDMI to HDMI. And the monitor came with a cable, so that's good. Very important to note that this bag should not be used in cribs, beds, carriages, or playpens. The bag is not a toy, folks. Do not give this bag to your babies to play with. If you need me to tell you that, you're watching the wrong channel anyway. All right, so that's that. Everything looks good. And we've got a really cool kit that came, or startup guide that came with this. It has everything from how to use this for just installing the Raspberry Pi OS, using this as a retro gaming system, how to set it up as a media center using Kodi and the like. So a lot of useful information in here on how to do different things with this. I know exactly what I want to do with it, but maybe I'll make it a part-time arcade too. Who knows? So that's it, folks. That's what we got, and we're going to get to work on this first before we get to work on everything else. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start assembling this thing. I'm using this. This is an A1 rated 10 card, so this is basically application, ready for application. So this is better for installing the OS on. So we're going to use this rather than your standard U1 card I might use for photos or cameras or recording equipment. This should work better for the OS. I have the card already done and formatted here. I'm just going to go ahead and insert it into this thing before I even get started. Where's my slot? I always lose my slot. Right down here at the very bottom. There we go. Got that in. And we're going to go ahead and get this thing in here. Let's see. This thing goes in first, I think. How about we do it this way? There we go. That's in. Got some screws. And I'm going to screw it to the bottom of the case, among other things. It came with a little screwdriver, but I'm going to use this one. I have my heat sinks, which I'll deal with after I get these put in. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get the heat sinks installed and then put the cover together. Unusually, I would expected 3 heat sinks. There's only 2 here. Sometimes they include one for this chip, but this one doesn't have one for that. Just these. So let's go ahead and get these together. Okay. Alright, and then we have the fan header. You'll see we had the fan card kit. This tells me where to plug in these pins for this. And make sure that I put this in the right way. Assuming that would go there. Fan header pins are going to be on this end. So the fan actually, well, it won't go that way, clearly. The fan is going to go over here. Background, and then the blue. There we go. Alright, so we have red, black, and blue on the first 3 pins after you skip the first one. And we're just going to wrap that around here. Get that in. And then we have screws to put this on. Very simple. Unless you have really big fingers, which I do. Now I've got just a plain old Raspberry Pi 4 or Raspberry Pi OS 64-bit installed on this little card, and let's get that card inserted. I always do this upside down. It doesn't snap in or anything, it just goes in just like that. And we have a couple of little feet for the bottom of this thing. I'll put the feet on. I don't think I'm going to have a need for the feet, but it's not going to hurt to have the feet. So let's use the feet. Or face defeat without having feet. We're not to be facing defeat for not having feet. There we go. The very next thing I'm going to do is get my uber dangerous bag, which is not a toy, open it up, and get this ready to go. So let's get this little cap off of the HDMI. And we have our HDMI port over here. And should be the first one. Alright, and then it's ready to go. What I'm going to do is get the display out and hook the display up to the Pi. I'm going to boot those up together so we can see what that looks like, make sure that the touchscreen works, and that'll be the very next thing that we do. Okay, so we have everything unpacked. We have the new display that we're going to use. We have the Raspberry Pi in its case. We imaged and put the SD card back in it. We have the power supply, the USB cable for the touchscreen, HDMI, and the power supply for the Raspberry Pi. So now we're just going to get this all wired. It's going to be really simple. We're just going to pick this up and it's going to be done like that. Okay, moment of truth. Let's go ahead and give this a light up and see what happens. We'll power on the Raspberry Pi. And we have a green light and a red light here. The fan stopped and started. And now we have a green and the fan is spinning again. We should see a display come up, and we do. And this is going to tell us whether or not we're on the right track here. Okay, we see the Raspberry Pi screen. We're booting up. We're about to be at the desktop. That's pretty good boot time on this. And here we have it. I have a mouse cursor. You can see I can drag, I can touch. I can get the menus. And all this is here. We got Bluetooth I can enable. I've got different things here. Sign in, turn off Raspberry Pi something or another. Go away, Raspberry Pi Connect, and we have all this. So everything is working. We're at the desktop. I verified the touchscreen is working. We're just going to shut it right back down. Actually, no, we're going to just leave that here, and now I can connect to it and configure it. It should be connected to my Wi-Fi network as well. On-screen keyboard's available. Everything looks good. Let's get started on the configuration. Alright, so I got those presence sensors. So the ones I ordered that we saw before were the wrong ones. I meant to get the battery version, the MS605, which is what I have here now. These are the battery operated versions. The ones I got before needed to be plugged in. I sent those back. The Meross store was very fantastic about taking them back. Issued the refund early before they even had arrived there after they were shipped. And so here I have them. And here's the little battery that comes with those. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one over here somewhere in the kitchen. And its goal is to prevent me from shutting off the kitchen light whenever I'm doing my movie time and having that occur. And the other one is going to go up here or somewhere along the staircase. So when I approach the staircase from the top, in one of the zones, it will see me and turn this light on. Or when I approach it from the bottom, maybe zone 3, it'll be able to turn the light on. So now I don't have to touch this or find it in the dark. So we'll see what happens. So that being the case, let's go ahead and get these puppies installed.